Okay, the first step that we're going to have in this project is to sketch our self-portrait. And whatever picture you start with, we talked a lot about cropping and making it kind of dramatic cropping so that it's very interesting. I have a picture of my face here that I've decided to only use a portion of. Um, and then we want it to be in proportion to the paper around it. So I'm not measuring here, but as long as you have the same amount of negative space on both sides and at the top, it should work. And that's what I was showing you here. Now I'm folding my paper in half so I can find the halfway mark that way and in half the other way. And that's just gonna give me some guidelines to use. So now on my paper, and you could use a ruler for this, or you can eyeball it, but if as long as you get it close, you can put halfway each way the other way, and you're going to have, like I said, a few guidelines. So the first thing I'm going to draw there is the side of my eye, and it's already just a little bit odd because we don't think about our eyes being on the outside of our face, but from this view, you're going to be drawing I'm going to be drawing my forehead, then my eye, which kind of pokes out past where my face is, and then my cheekbone. And it's important to look at the negative space there. The negative space on the paper that I'm drawing should look the same as the negative space on the picture. And sometimes it's easier to almost look at that negative space than it is the positive space. So here I am putting in the line of my nose, looking at angles, looking at how it lines up with the eye. When we're drawing this close, you're going to be able to see not only the eyelid, but on the bottom, you're going to see the edge of my eyelid. So there's going to even be an extra line there. And then where the like in my case, there's some eye makeup and then some eyelashes and stuff. Then finish my nose off, which is going to go off the page. And then I'm going to maybe draw in a few shadows through there. Then I'm going to start in with my hair. That's the middle of my page. I don't want you to draw in every strand of hair. Instead, I would like you to just look for highlights and shadows and maybe just the outside edge or the shape of the hair. So I have some pretty extreme highlights there from light to dark. So I'm going to go ahead and draw those in. My next step is then to look at my eye and where my eye is placed according to those two guidelines of the halfway mark. And notice how large it is. It seems ridiculous to draw your eyes this large, but when you're trying to fill your paper, my eye goes clear down almost to the bottom of the paper. And then I look at the placement of the iris and the pupil. And again, you're going to see part of the inside of my eyelid there on the bottom. And then I have that funny little shape over on the edge of my eye. So, I don't know, maybe a tear duct. I could go ahead and put in those shadows if I want. I'm getting older, so I have a few lines around my eyes. You guys won't have as many lines as me. And then I'm going to put in my eyebrow and then a few more highlights and shadows in my hair so that I kind of have a guide to know where to put those colors. And then the final thing I think I need to put in here is just a little bit of the edge of my nose, and then I will have my drawing complete. So next, when it comes to painting our portrait, you guys are going to choose a color scheme. And I'm going to let you either use monochromatic, complementary, or analogous colors. For this, I chose complementary, orange and blue, and I have to decide how am I going to divide this up. Now my face, if I make it orange, I mean, I don't have a lot of choices here, then my hair is going to have to be blue, my eyes are going to be blue, and actually my eyes are blue, so it's fine. And yeah, our face is kind of peach colored in some cases, but this is going to be more extreme than that, as you can see what I'm doing there. I started out by kind of looking for a light area, and that was right on my nose. Now I'm looking for some of the shadowed areas, and I'm just using straight up orange on that. I love to use wet on wet, so while that orange was still wet, I added even a little bit of black to it to make those shadows deeper and darker. So this may be tough for you, or you may have to stop and let the paint dry because, you know, class time is up. But if you can do a little bit of it wet on wet, that always works nice because it blends really good. If you can't, we can do more with the glazing, which we'll do next. So I'm looking very closely at my picture, constantly referring back to that. Where are the highlights? Where are the shadows? And trying to make those different values all with orange. After I get this part done on the face, then I'll be starting in with the blue. And you can always add tints and values to these color schemes. So you can see a lot of that with black and gray. All right, I kind of skipped the rest of my painting, but you see what I have there. This is the glazing part. Glazing is clear paint without, it's just the binder of paint, the polymer, without any pigment in it. So it gives it a see-through effect, and it does create depth. So in the areas that are lighter, you're going to take white in with a little bit of glaze. It should be see-through, and you're just going to go ahead and add that on to the areas that maybe you already have light. And if you missed a place that isn't light, you can add it to those too. It also is really easy then to kind of blend that in. So down there on my nose, I'm kind of adding a highlight right next to the shadow, which will give it more contrast. I noticed there's a little bit more light over there on my cheek. That's probably where the light is hitting it. Um, I'm guessing maybe there would be some, yep, on the top of my eyebrow and maybe even down below on my cheek a little bit. So you can see that I'm putting that in there. So lots of times when you do glaze, it seems like you're going to ruin it. And yet when you step away and you see what you have done to it, it has gotten so much stronger, more depth, more detail. So once I get that done, then I can go ahead and add the dark glazes. Same thing, I'm going to start with the glaze, which looks white, but it's really clear, and then a little bit of black, and you can adjust how dark you want that. Here I'm putting some shadows on the white of my eye. And a lot of people are like, no, your eyes of your white, or the whites of your eyes are white. Yes, they are, but they also have shadows in them, especially where your eyelid comes down over them. And so once I start putting that in, it's going to look more three-dimensional, more realistic. Any place that I want to push back and cause more depth to happen, or then I'm going to use that darker glaze. When you get more experience, it's fun to really experiment with different colors of glaze. I could use a blue glaze even on here, and that would work as well. But again, you can keep this glaze really light, or you can do it pretty dark. There you can see the shadow on my eye and how it all of a sudden starts to look like a round eye instead of a flat eye. And some more of that dark area there.